when you do it slowly, it has a lot of flavor.
Good evening, everybody. It is so amazing to see everyone here.
Woo!
The first Farmers in Torah of the year. Packed house. Love this. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's really exceptional. We're looking forward, Bez Hashem, next week, I believe, to have Mrs. Granitsky back with all of the excitement and with all of the energy. We missed her, and we're wishing her well and her little cutie pie, Uriel Chai, to have a lot of strength to come back to Partners in Torah. Tonight we have the awesome privilege of having the president. The president of TORCH, to share with us some words of Torah, the great Dan Kullman.
So this Torah portion this week is Vayekhi, and it starts off with Yokov giving, or doesn't start off with Parsha, but the Parsha includes Yokov giving blessings to his son. And it's very strange because the first blessings to his first three sons don't really sound like a blessing. It sounds like a roast almost. And the Midrash says the other brother sort of backed away after he gives the rebuke to Reuven and Shimon and Levi, and they sort of back away, a little fearful of this. And the question is how was this rebuke that gave them a blessing? And the reality is that the rebuke was certainly a blessing. Because whenever someone knows exactly what character trait they're weak in, what the proclivity is, then they know exactly what to focus on. They know exactly what their mission is. And that's a remarkable blessing. You know, we have the opportunity here to learn Musar. And I have found that whenever I am working on a Musar trait, looking at a character trait, and trying to identify whether or not it's something I need to work on, my tactic for always knowing whether or not it's a character trait that I'm deficient in is simple. As I begin to contemplate it, and my thoughts immediately go out, and I begin to think about someone else that has that negative character trait, and then I know my Yetzer Hara is trying to divert me in that direction. And that means that is exactly, precisely what I need to work on. And that's the challenge of Musar. It's hard to do introspection. I'm reading a book right now called The Power of Habit. And one of the organizations it references that has a great model for changing behavior is Alcoholics Anonymous. Now they have these 12 steps, and the fourth one is called a personal inventory. And what the book was talking about was that most people, when they come to the program, they get to that fourth step, the personal inventory, what we call Musar, and that's where they back away. And it always ends up being when it becomes life or death. That's when they get the courage and the fortitude to fight through that introspection, that Musar. And they gave many stories of people that would go back out, is what they call it, and drink again. But when they have that moment where they get in a car wreck and they realize they survived, but this area of the car where their children normally ride with them is mangled, that's when they push through, because Musar is challenging. And it made me think, you know, for an alcoholic to make it life or death to do Musar, isn't it life or death for us? Because Rabbi Ari Wolbe always says there's two types of Jews, right? A stagnant Jew and a growing Jew. That's the only two types. And what happens at Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur when the Almighty determines that we are stagnant? And he can see outside of time and say, this Jew is always going to be stagnant. Isn't it also possibly our dissonance? So I think taking that life or death attitude towards continually doing Musar and trying to perfect ourselves is important. You know, the challenge, what we've seen too, is that, you know, when it comes to analyzing the negative qualities of another person, it's like we all automatically earn a PhD in psychology. Then it's all crystal clear. Now, you may have spoken with someone before who can, with great precision, analyze the negative qualities of another person, one after another after another. Now, in the South, it's not a sin to do this if after tarnishing someone's reputation and breaking apart all their negative qualities, you say, oh, bless their heart. But for us, it's a sin, because we are required to love our neighbor as ourselves and only see their positive qualities and turn every Jew, everyone we encounter, to our rabbi. Now, if you ever speak to someone like this who is just analyzing, breaking apart everyone's negative quality traits, I've been around someone like this, one after the other after another, and you ask this person, like I've done, I said, by the way, do you know anyone who experiences the quality of just seeing the negative qualities in others? They don't see the positive qualities in others. And you get this person to stop and think and go internal. You will see that they will have an epiphany. And they'll stop and they'll say, you know, you're right. I do know someone like this. You'll say, okay. It's my cousin. They're totally like that. It's so annoying. So, now, Yaakov, when he was rebuking his sons, there are laws to rebuke, right? First, you have to love your fellow as yourself, so much so that any emotional distress would cause you emotional distress. And two, you have to know they're going to be open to it. Now, my wife, several years ago, she loves me, and she said, you know, she told me some truth, sometimes you're not a very good listener. And she went the extra mile and sat there and told me and shared with me some wonderful advice that she read on how to develop the skills of being an active listener, which was great. Sadly, I don't remember because I really wasn't paying attention. My point is, she went the extra mile. About 7 years ago, Rabbi Yaakov Wolkenlinter, who always said, just call me Rabbi Yaakov, so you don't want me to butcher his last name like I just did. But he was teaching a Musar class when he was with Torch about 7 years ago. And he taught a class, and it had a profound impact on me. And one of the parts of it was how to learn how to be present when you're out and about, knowing when to be internal and contemplative, when to be present. And it had a big impact on me. And I thought about it nonstop the entire way home. And I pulled over to get some gas. And I went inside to pay and get some water. And a friend of mine walked up to me, stood in front of me, and said, "Hey, Dan." I said, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, "Did you not hear me calling you over and over again from across the store?" And I was like, "No, man, I'm sorry. I just went to this amazing Musar class, and I could not stop thinking about this lesson on being present." It's actually a true story. So learn from my mistake. Remember this. If you're not going to Rabbi Ari's Musar classes, go. If you can't make it, at least watch the recording on YouTube like I do. But remember that when he's done teaching, the lesson is not over. The work is not over. The work has just begun. The classroom for Musar is when you leave that space and you go out into the world. So may we all have continual growth in our Musar and improving our character traits and allowing us to continually grow closer to God and to each other. Thanks.
Yeah.